Welcome to Unicorn Encouragement, where I encourage unicorns who are entrepreneur wives to live magical, mystical lives. But are you crying on your bathroom floor right now? Have you cried on your bathroom floor this week, this year, this month? Well, don't worry. If you are crying on your bathroom floor, don't worry. I've been there 8 bazillion times, and you can mark that in the book as 8 bazillion times because it's freaking hard to be an entrepreneur wife, everybody. And this is what I call the stage of battle to breathe. You know, people talk about entrepreneurship and you see the highlight reels of how amazing it is to be an entrepreneur, but they aren't living in the suck. Sometimes it sucks. And that's the truth of the matter. Now, sometimes it is glorious and glamorous and you get to travel and do all this cool stuff, but sometimes there's a suck. And you can't really share the suck with anybody because you are surrounded by normies. And normies have keywords that trigger them to give you bad advice. So if you start telling them about the suck, they will tell you to eject from the suck, which they're just trying to do it because they love you and they want to be on your team, but they don't give helpful advice to get you through the suck. And that's what this is. The battle to breathe is to get you through the suck. And I don't even think I could say the word suck one more time because it's starting to get a little weird, but here's the truth of the matter is the battle to breathe is very real. Now, I talk to lots of entrepreneurs, and some entrepreneurs will tell me to fix their wife, and I always ask who broke them. But usually it's because their wives are having a hard time breathing. They feel like they're drowning. And it feels like every time their husband has a business idea or hires a new employee or gets a new work truck or this or that they start to take on more water, or that their lives get so busy and they feel like they're a single parent running their life, or that their husband and them live in totally different lives and sometimes they bump into each other because they're in the battle to breathe. Now, what do I suggest when you are in the battle to breathe? The two things that I find most prevalent that really radically change marriages, lives, and businesses is self-care and Wow Week. Self-care is that entrepreneur wives usually do self-care the least. They're trying to run a good household, a good business, and a good marriage all at the same time, and they're taking on water because it's a lot. And they forget to take care of the one person who is making this all happen, and that's themselves. See, you cannot pour out of an empty cup. And some entrepreneur wives, and maybe you are like this, you're pouring out of an empty cup. And then you go to sleep and your cup gets kind of filled up, and then you pour again. And it's this never-ending cycle of drowning. Ladies, you need to do good self-care. What does that mean? What does that look like? You need to schedule some time where you have adult thoughts. You think adult things, and maybe you even talk to an adult. What? Stop. And you have time to get yourself filled up that don't include business. I actually think there is a business to doing self-care. You should actually make yourself some boundaries where you don't talk about business, and I think it's good for your business to do that. I think date night is really good for your business. I actually think there's very good ROI on having date night and having self-care. Now let's break down the self-care. I think that there's, some people say, I can't do self-care because it's too expensive. False. There's free self-care. There's tiny self-care. There's Norman self-care. And then there's Fabio self-care. Fabio self-care is like a dream where you want something magical and mystical. What I found really fascinating is in the Unicorn Squad, when I asked people to put their no money, no limits self-care dream, Fabio dream out there, what they dreamt about. See, when I asked people what their ideal magical self-care was, it was like, hey, I want to take a nap. Y'all, that's in the free category. Now, one of my entrepreneur wives, unicorns, said, I want to go to Paris and buy 5 Louis Vuitton belts and, go to Tiffany's and eat, Michelin 5-star restaurants. No, they said, I want to take a nap. I want to drink a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee that's actually free unless you're going to like Starbucks. Then that's gonna cost you an arm and a leg actually. So I was gonna say that's tiny self-care, but that's expensive self-care right there. But these are all things that you could do into your weekly. I think self-care should be a weekly thing where you get yourself rested and restored. If you're in hustle and grind season, maybe you need to take a day off of self-care, but maybe you need extra self-care to get through hustle and grind season so that you can have a good strategy, a good head game and a headspace and a mindset to crush life. So you need to be doing self-care. That's the first thing. So that's what I tell all entrepreneurs. You want your wife to drop her panties? Then you better be making sure that girl's got some self-care. Yeah, I just said drop your panties, so just deal with it. Deal with it. Trust me. You're not as embarrassed as every studio person in this room right now. That they didn't see that one coming. But the next thing is Wow Week. Entrepreneurs, you want to be wowed? You want your wife to show up in a different realm? Then you better be giving her self-care. So self-care, and then ladies, if you want self-care to be a regular routine, you need to show up differently for the people around you. When your cup is filled up, you need to wow people in ways that you have not wowed them before because we want them to be, it's like basically like training. You get self-care, they get wowed, you get self-care again. Happy life, happy wife, happy life, right? But here are the ways to wow. Here's my wow framework for you. First, the W. Ways. The ways that they don't expect. Okay? Then there's O, the objects, the things they don't expect. Then there's another W, the when they don't expect it. That's how they could be wowed. Like I know people who schedule sex on certain days, and she's like, I'm going to wow my husband because it's happening on a day that it doesn't normally happen. And I was like, girl, wow. And he said, wow. And then D, in the details, the tiny details that put it over the top. And so that's like wowed, okay? Things that put it over the top. Maybe that's some salad dressing. If you saw one of my last videos, you know salad dressing is the thing that makes your husband say, wow. I know women who have wowed their husbands with some pictures. Her husband said, wow. Maybe it's something that your husband's always wanted. I had some ladies who her husband wants a Rolls Royce. Now, she couldn't buy him a Rolls Royce, but she bought him a little mini Rolls Royce and said, hey, I believe in you. Maybe you're going to wow people by the encouraging words. Maybe you're going to tell Nagatha Naggy Pants to take a seat this week, and you're going to wow people with your attitude, with your words, with your actions, with your affirmations. Maybe it's gifts. What are your spouse's love languages that you can tap into and really wow and show up for them differently? See, this is the battle to breathe, is self-care and wow. And once you get in this loop, I'm going to tell you, it's like addicting because you are going to wow everybody. And you're going to want people to have to say, wow, wow, wow. I mean, I remember one of my unicorns, her husband said, wow, a lot in a week. And you can imagine, I didn't ask for details, but all I know is he said, I never want my wife to leave the unicorn squad ever. Just keep running my credit card. And he said that because she was wowing him and lots of read between the lines, everybody. But then it started to get addicting where she was like, oh my goodness, my husband, like he showed up for me differently. He brought me home a gift. And so he started to wow her. And then when you start getting wowed, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to wow more people. And then you wow the people in the Starbucks line, or you wow your kids or your family or your friends, and you show up differently. And I'm not talking about in like the weird, sexy realm, because I think that sounded weird how I mashed them all together. But you start showing up differently when you are a whole human, when you have thoughts, when you don't feel like you're drowning, when you don't feel like you're alone. Ladies, you are not alone. If you are an entrepreneur wife and you are battling to breathe, crying on your bathroom floor, I am here to send the lifeboat to tell you we are on a mission to get you a full human. And then we're going to put you in a lifeboat and we're going to have you help find other entrepreneur wives who are drowning. Because this is not just a mission for myself. This is a mission for a generation of women to say, I got you and the lifeboat is coming. The lifeboat is coming. Your battle to breathe is here. Self-care and Wow Week are two tactics that can radically transform your lives. But you have to take control back and say, I am in control of me, and the lifeboat is coming. If you found this encouraging, go make sure you like and subscribe and ring the bell. I don't even know what the bell does. I just know you get to find my face and I get to say things like panty dropper and lifeboat and wow your husband. Okay? I get to say all those things. So like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And trust me, if you're an entrepreneur, you can still ring the bell. It's okay. Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. And tell your wife, oh my gosh, this lady's so crazy. Do you think she's onto something? So yes, entrepreneurs, you can like the bell, do all the things. And entrepreneur wives, never forget to stay sexy, and the lifeboat is coming.